Hi, my name is Suzanne Asherson, and I am an occupational therapist with a clinical doctorate in OT. I am a national presenter for Learning Without Tears, and today you are here for a segment called Ask an OT. I am an OT, and we are going to be answering the question of how to best help left-handed children. Well, let's face it, we live in a right-handed world. Am I right? But lefties, they should not feel left out. Researchers find that about 10% of our population are left-handed individuals, and they are in good company in the left-handed club with famous people like Mozart, Leonardo da Vinci, Oprah, Lady Gaga, and Angelina Jolie, and more. So let's talk about how we can help our lefties. First of all, I'm never going to force a child to pick one hand over the other. A lefty is going to gravitate to use their left hand, just like a righty will gravitate to use their right. That is hand dominance, and it will develop naturally, and sometimes it could take up until about 6 years old for dominance to develop. Once a child shows hand dominance, well, then I'm going to teach that lefty to hold their pencil the same way that I would a righty, with either a tripod grip or a quadrupod. The difference is sometimes I give lefties a sticker like this, a visual, about 1 inch or 1.5 inches above their pencil, because if a lefty holds it a little bit higher rather than down low, that's going to help that lefty to not get that smudge of the writing in their hand. Now, when it's time to help a lefty with writing words and sentences, we're going to teach them to tilt their paper. Now, as a righty, I'm going to tilt with the right corner higher. Why? Because as I'm writing, do you see how my wrist goes up? But if I was a lefty, I'm going to have them tilt the other direction with the left corner higher, because as that lefty is writing, to see how their wrist goes this direction? To help that child to know which way to tilt their paper, it's as easy as making an arrow at the bottom of their page. And then I tell the child to take that arrow and to point it to their belly button. And that will help the child to know which way they should be tilting their paper. Now, is it okay for a lefty to overly exaggerate the tilt of their paper? Yeah, it's fine. The reason why lefties do that is so that they could see what it is that they're copying, and also to prevent some of that smudge that happens on their left hand as they're writing. Now, let's talk about writing on worksheets. Oftentimes, children are given worksheets like this. And you know what happens is when a child who's a lefty is going to write their words, they're covering up those words that they're writing. So the child's not able to see the word. And what they do is they go like this. Do you see that? They took their wrist and hooked it. Now that is really uncomfortable. Let's find out. I want you to feel it. So go ahead, take your left hand, put it in the air, and now I want you to drop your wrist and wiggle your fingers. Ew, do you feel that? It doesn't feel good to me. I feel a lot of pull in my tendons right here. That doesn't feel good. That is what it looks like when a child is left-handed and they're developing this hooked grip so that they're able to see what it is when they're writing. We don't want children to develop this left-handed hooked grip. We want their grip to feel really natural and that wrist to be in a natural position. So how can you help a child at home who's coming home with spelling papers like this? Well, you can make a photocopy of it and put the photocopy on the other side. And now when that child is writing, they don't have to hook their wrist to see the word want. They just have to copy here, and they're copying from the other side. Now, if you're a teacher watching and you're wondering how can you make your own worksheets to help lefties and righties, well, this is a simple and easy. Put the spelling word in the middle and then leave a line underneath. And now both righties and lefties could copy the words under. And now that lefty doesn't have to hook their wrist. Because we're learning without tears, we think about all of our children's lefties and righties. And that's why we have our twin word list. And see, the twin word list is so that a lefty can go and they could copy from this side. Likewise, if we're asking children to copy sentences, we're asking them to copy it underneath. This is a left and right-handed friendly workbook for our students. Let's talk a little bit more about lefties. When it comes to letter formation, there's some letters that lefties may do differently than a righty. I want you to, on a scratch sheet of paper, make the letter T for me, lowercase t. As a righty, we're gonna cross our T from left to right. But if you're a lefty, did you do it that way? Some of you may have because, well, you were a good copycat and you copied from your teacher. And most likely your teacher was right-handed and they taught you the right-handed way. But other lefties may cross their T the other direction. And that's great. That actually feels better to a lefty to pull into their body when they're crossing their letters. Same thing for capital T. A lefty may cross it the other way. Capital A as well. Right? Capital G. They're crossing it the other way. Lowercase f. These letters, we're having children cross it, our lefties cross it from right to left. So if you are a teacher or a parent or an occupational therapist and you're right-handed, but you're working with a left-handed child, I want you to demonstrate to that child that it is okay for them to cross it the left-handed way. And on the flip side, if you are an adult who is a lefty and you're working with a righty, you may want to show the righties how to do it the right-handed way, where they're crossing it the other direction, which makes it feel better for their hands. Any more left-handed tips? Absolutely. Make sure that children are sitting at a desk that's shared with their own space on their left side so they're not playing bumper elbows with their friends. If they're using a spiral notebook, make sure that the spiral is on the right side, so just flip it over so they're not, their wrist isn't resting on that spiral, causing that left-handed hooked grip to develop. If they're smearing a lot, mechanical pencils are great for older children so that it doesn't get as much on their hands, but I always make sure to have wet wipes available to get rid of the smears. And lastly, make sure that your lefties have true left-handed scissors. It really makes a difference compared to the ambidextrous scissors on the market. One last little bit of tidbit information, a fun fact. Do you know that on a computer keyboard, 1,447 words are typed solely with the left hand compared to the right hand, which only has 187 words typed with that right hand? Fun tip, there you go. I hope this is some great ideas for how to help lefties.